Okay, so I just got back home from the Minecraft movie, and when I say I got back home, I mean I literally just got back home, ran upstairs right to my room, and now I'm sitting on my computer because I want to talk about this while it is still immediately fresh in my mind. Now, I've been playing Minecraft for 12 years now, and safe to say, by default, it has to be one of my favorite games of all time. Definitely top three. I literally would not have most of the friends that I have today if not for Minecraft. I met them all on a Minecraft server. So naturally, I had to go see the Minecraft movie as soon as I could. Didn't have time to see it last week, but got a ticket today and I went to go see it. And I got some things I want to say about it. Uh, First of all, if you've seen my Twitter or my Instagram, you'll have noticed that I posted saying that it was absolute peak cinema. And it is. Don't worry, it is. But unfortunately, I am going to do a legitimate review on it. And by the way, this isn't scripted or anything. This is me just speaking right off the cuff. Just nothing to go off of. Just saying what I'm thinking. Is it peak cinema? Yeah. Um. uh. Okay. Realistically speaking, the movie's not that great. In fact, it's not that good either. In fact, I would go so far as to call it bad. Yeah. Absolute peak cinema is a bit of a stretch. Um, it's definitely in the so bad it's good category, but there are a lot of aspects about it that were just not very good. Um, so first of all, before I talk about the movie itself, I want to talk about my actual theater experience that I had. Uh, it was super chill. I had a cool theater. Um, I was surprised by how full it was. Actually, it was a packed house, and my local theater it's pretty big. Like each of the movie rooms, they can hold a good amount of people. So, and it was I think like 90% full. There was only a couple open spots like right up at the front. I was worried, legitimately, especially when we got to the chicken jockey scene. Not gonna lie, I was legitimately worried that my theater would go absolutely crazy because most of the people in there were either kids or teens or young adults like me, and that those are the people who have been going viral, throwing popcorn and shit at chicken jockey. We did all scream out chicken jockey when it happened and then we cheered, but thankfully no food or drinks were thrown. And so I actually just let out a sigh of relief at that point because I was legitimately concerned um, that that would happen. But luckily, my theater was cool. My theater was chill. Um, Also, something that I thought would happen, um, but didn't, is I thought my theater would kind of cheer or clap or whatever when that scene where a bunch of Minecraft YouTubers were in the background as cameos. It was the storage area scene, which, by the way, spoilers, by the way, this isn't going to be a spoiler free thing. I am going to spoil like the whole movie. Um, but like there were a bunch of YouTubers in there, like Afma was there, Dan TDM was there. Those were the main two I recognized anyway. And no one like cheered or clapped or anything like that when the YouTubers popped up, which is weird because back when I was in that same theater uh, a year and a half ago to watch the FNAF movie when it came out, when like Matt Pat and Koryax Kenshin popped up there, the theater went wild. Like, especially when Matt Pat popped out, like everyone just gave a standing ovation. And so I was kind of expecting the same thing when, like Dan TDM popped up. But no, silence. And, everyone in there is obviously a fan of Minecraft or knows Minecraft. So I would assume most people in there would know who those people are. But yeah, that was kind of something I was expecting to happen that didn't. So that was overall my theater experience. Now, let's get into the movie itself. There are a few good things about it, which we'll get into. Unfortunately, the bad outweighs the good. And I think just right off the bat, I'm going to say what I think is the biggest flaw about this movie, and that is it is way too damn rushed. They rushed the hell out of this movie. They had, and I get it. You got to fit things into that hour and a half time slot. And quite frankly, I think at this point movies don't have to necessarily be an hour and a half. Like you can drag out a movie to 2 hours, honestly, and it would still be just as good. And I think they should have for this movie. Like this was absolutely something that shouldn't have been condensed into such a short time frame because it shows. It really does show. There are several plot points that get started at various points in the movie and either go nowhere or solved immediately after they started. Like it's like the whole beginning part of the movie where they move to this town in Idaho because this one of the main characters, her mom died, and I guess she wanted them to move to this place in Idaho or something. It's not explained. That's basically just thrown out the window when that starts out as sort of being the main plot point to the movie. That's just totally neglected, like not even halfway in. And then it's just so many things just never get resolved or meant or like they're mentioned. I said they're mentioned, and either they don't get resolved or they're just resolved immediately, and it really becomes like a what's the point kind of thing. And like you can tell this is a movie made for kids. I get that. I get that. But that doesn't mean it has to suck. The Mario movie, for instance, was a obviously it was a video game movie made for kids, and I liked it. Okay, I think the Mario movie was objectively good. Um, Not even objectively. I think it factually was good. It kind of subverted people's expectations just by how decent it ended up being. That is definitely a movie made for kids, and it was good. The first Sonic movie, I'd say more so than the other two. The first one, I'd say, was geared more towards kids specifically, and that one was good. Um, but the Minecraft movie, I, you know what it, I watched Critical's review of this of it as well, and I have to agree with him when he says that it feels like how video game movies used to be. Like back in the late 90s and early 2000s, like that era of video game movies when they were famously terrible. I wouldn't call Minecraft terrible, but it's not good. It really wasn't good. And it does feel like that early era of video game movies before people just collectively came together and decided that video game movies could actually be good. This is what it feels. It feels like that set in modern day. And speaking of set in modern day, when I say it's geared for kids, it's geared towards Gen Alpha, and maybe that's why they rushed it. Maybe that's why, a lot of things aren't taken very seriously. This movie does not take itself seriously, by the way, at all. They are fully aware of who their target demographic is, and none of the characters take the situation they're in seriously at any capacity. And when it does, it feels half-assed. Like I have I can't remember in my lifetime, well, not in my whole lifetime, in recent years, I can't remember seeing a movie where the main cast being when they're in legitimate danger, just being completely nonsensical about it, just like almost to the point of not giving a fuck, like putting in some effort but not nearly enough to make it believable. Speaking of the main cast, let me talk about the main cast for a sec. I don't besides Steve, I don't remember any of their names. I read Jason Momoa's character is called the Garbage Man for some reason. I guess because like his whole thing is he was this arcade game champion from 1989, and they nicknamed him the Garbage Man. I don't remember what his actual name in the movie is. I don't remember what anyone's actual name in the movie is besides Steve. Literally, Steve is the only person whose name I remember, so I'm gonna have to just call them by their actors' names. Um, Jason Momoa is easily my favorite character in the movie. Um, he is just the way he acts in this, just playing this like kind of washed up former video game champion that's now fallen on hard times. He runs a vintage game store, which I liked. Um, and he's like, he plays characters that he's Jason Momoa is like, kind of typically known for playing. Like if you've seen him as Aquaman, well, he kind of has sort of that same attitude in the movie of just kind of like nonchalant, but he plays it like way over the top. Like he plays himself out to be like this big cool chill guy who succeeds at life and still riding that high of being a champion when he's definitely not anymore. And there's a scene in the movie where that sort of comes out later on, that he's not this big guy that he claims to be. um but even after that scene happens, he just kind of goes right back to playing this characterized version of himself that he does throughout the movie. But he is my favorite character in the whole movie, and I really I found myself rooting for him more than anyone else, followed closely by Steve. I wasn't sure what I was gonna think of Jack Black as Steve, and for the quote unquote main character of Minecraft, who has, obviously in the game he has no personality because you control him essentially. They could just basically do whatever they wanted with Steve. So as much as I like Steve, I didn't see Steve from Minecraft. I saw Jack Black playing someone's fan fiction of Steve. Okay, that's what it felt like. But he was funny. Jack Black nails like every role he's in, and he's just naturally funny. And Frank, if that's the direction they wanted to go for the movie, then Jack Black was a really good choice for Steve. They gave him personality, and the whole point is that he was just supposed to be funny, and he was. So if that was their intention, they got that down 100%. Now, as for the rest of the cast, Danielle Brooks's character was all right. I didn't really have a problem with her. Maybe a bit cliche at times, kind of corny a bit, but honestly, she's one of the better characters in the cast. I would put her right behind Jason Momoa and Steve for my favorite characters in the movie. She was all right. Story wise, story wise, she didn't really add much. To the point where it's like almost like, why is she there? Um, but in terms of just simply, I I, I guess plot relief or comic relief, she had a couple funny moments, and I'm really just indifferent on her. She wasn't bad, but as I said, her character just doesn't really add much to the story overall. Now, let's talk about the last two of the main cast, and that is Emma Myers. Emma Myers' character. Now, her name I actually remember because it's Natalie. And I kid you not, I literally just remembered that. because Natalie, if you want to be technical about it, is sort of the female version of my name. Um, but that which is literally the only reason I remembered her name. But she's like she's played by Emma Myers, and she's like, I guess, the supposed to be the grounded in reality type character compared to the rest of them. She is legitimately boring. Like, she adds less to the story than Danielle Brooks's character does, and at least for most of it, there is they try to do this whole character arc with her, of her like being the guardian of her little brother, who, by the way, I don't know how old she's supposed to be, but I mean, the actor herself is 23, but I don't know how old she's supposed to be in the movie. I assume, I guess, around the same age. Um, but like, the whole thing is that her and her little brother's mom died, and is his guardian now. And she's like just trying, and he's the only family she has left, and she's just trying to look out for him. Um, and she does a terrible job of that in the movie, by the way. Like, considering her whole point is that she's like, I have to look out for my brother. She is terrible at it. Um, but like, she's supposed to be the one that's like sort of grounded more in reality, I guess, compared to everyone else. But that goes out the window halfway through the movie, and she goes, as I said, she goes through this whole arc of her calling her brother, like like he's like, because her brother got like bullied for being a nerd, basically. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, he, in 2025, got bullied for being a nerd. And like, there's this scene where I guess Jack Black was like, you know in this world in Minecraft, you can be creative and stuff. um and then she was like, well, in the real world it doesn't work that way. um and then she was like, maybe he belongs in this world. And then he heard her say that, and then got mad at it, and then just stormed off. And then she ends up like apologizing for it, but it's like, what is she apologizing for? Because because like, what was there's this whole thing where they do that, it makes her seem like she's in the wrong for like insulting her brother or something like that, when she really isn't. Like, she's horrible at protecting him, because she basically just lets him go off and do whatever he wants, in the strange foreign world that they all suddenly find themselves in. But they play her up as though she's like this completely overprotective sister, when she's not, in any way, shape, or form. She's not. And so, all this is so I can now talk about the younger brother himself, Sebastian Hansen's character. I legitimately hated him. Like, am I the only one who just did not like him at all? Like, I like, genuinely, like, I cannot remember in recent years watching a movie where I legitimately just totally disliked a character right from the first minute he appeared to the very end of the movie. I mean, it was that much. Like, I was actively rooting against him the whole time. And I can't be the only one that just found him to be just annoying as fuck the whole movie. Like, I don't know what they were trying to do. They make him seem like he's like the hero of the movie, more so than Steve. And I'm like, this kid's supposed to be the protagonist. Like we're supposed to relate to this guy. I was rude. I wanted him to fail the whole movie because I didn't like his personality. They made him so like his whole thing is that I guess he was like just really smart, but also just like a big nerd, and he gets bullied for it in real life. Like he literally he literally in the beginning of the movie he tries to make a jetpack in real life. They're not in Minecraft yet. He tries to make a jetpack at school, okay, to fly it. And you know, realistically, that's supposed to be cool as fuck. But then like these random other kids just right as he's about to launch it as a demonstration, because the other kids are like, haha, you're a nerd, you're a loser, and then they cut the wire without him looking. So the whole jetpack launches, but it doesn't fly straight, and it ends up flying out of control and crashing into this giant potato chip figure at a potato chip factory. Don't ask me what that has to do with Minecraft. I almost totally forgot what that is for. Um, so and then he's sad and depressed about it. Never mind the fact that he built a working jetpack to begin with out of scratch with his bare hands. Okay, and he's supposed to be like what? And like he's supposed to be like fucking 14 or something like that. Um and he's treated like a loser for the whole thing going wrong. Which is the only moment that which is the only moment that I actually sided with him, because I was like that was like a what the fuck moment. But then the rest of the movie, he's just fucking arrogant. Like genuinely. Like he is the most arrogant character in the whole movie. I think he is worse than the actual villain of the movie, which I'll talk about a little bit, because the villain was just totally forgettable. Um, but I don't know. Just I so I think that the scene where it really cemented the fact that I just did not like this kid was about halfway through the movie. They're going to the woodland mansion to try and find this orb, which is like the Deus Ex Machina of the film. And the team splits up. So um, Emma Myers' character and Daniel Brooks' character go one route, and then Jack Black, Jason Momoa, and Sebastian Hansen they go another way. So those three, they come across this mountain, and apparently the mountain is just full of diamonds in it or something. And Steve's like, okay, do we go through the mountain or around it? And um, Sebastian Hansen's like, well, whichever way's faster, because we gotta meet my sister at the mansion, and I'm worried about her. And so Jason and Steve are like, okay, well then we'll go through the mountain. And so they do, and then they're in the caves, and then Jason steps on this pressure plate, and a bunch of traps go off, and it opens up this secret room where Steve has this diamond mine stash. And then out of nowhere, Sebastian Hansen's character is like, "You planned this, didn't you?" And then they're like, "What?" And he's like, "You planned this so that we could go through the mountains so that you could get all these diamonds. You're so selfish." And I'm like, where is this coming from? And like he legitimately gets mad at Jason Momoa for just wanting diamonds, and he accuses them of just completely being greedy and selfish. And like they were getting along great just before that, and then it's like just immediately complete change of character, like out of nowhere. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Because like you think it would have been faster to go around the mountain, and like them sidetracking into this diamond cave doesn't even take up that much time at all. Like, something happens because at that moment the one of the piglins come in and invade, and so they have to find another way out, and they end up riding on a mine cart to get out. But that was solely because the piglins caught them. Um, not because that was planned or anything. And then after that, after they get out of that, Jason kind of breaks down and tells Sebastian's character, like, yeah, I'm actually not that great. I'm actually a loser, and my shop's doing horribly, and I'm falling on hard times, and I just really, really need money. So, that's why I want to get some of these diamonds. And and Jack Black, Steve, actually pretty much agrees with him on that. But Sebastian's character is still like furious at him. It's like no, he's like no, fuck you. You are greedy or whatever. You are terrible. He literally calls him the worst person he's ever met. And I'm like, that literally spawned out of nowhere. So yeah, I just did not did not like him at all. And then throughout the movie, literally throughout the rest of the movie up until pretty much close to the end, he just he just hates Jason Momoa for no reason. Literally for no reason. That's literally how I can describe it. It makes no sense. If it sounds like I'm making no sense, it's because the whole plot point of Sebastian's character just getting mad at Jason Momoa makes no sense. Okay, so you'll have to watch the movie to see what I'm talking about. But that's literally the best way I can describe it, and it just made me not like him. Like the way he treats Jason, and the way he treats his sister too. Just like she expresses the slightest doubt over him, and he takes it so damn personally. It's and this kid is supposed to be like the definitive hero of the movie. He's the one who does like the final heroic action at the end that saves everyone and all that. And I'm like, really, you had him do that? Couldn't it have been Jason? Or even Emma Myers' character or Daniel Brooks's character do that. But like this is the kid that we're supposed to relate to, and he is probably the least relatable person in the movie. Jack Black as Steve is more relatable than Sebastian Hansen's character was. I'm gonna really quickly talk about some of the side characters, the few that were there. First of all, the villain of the movie, completely forgettable. I genuinely forgot what her plan was exactly. She's like this evil sorceress piglin. I don't even remember what her name is exactly. All I remember is that it sounded eerily similar to Malakota from Game Night. So I'm gonna just call her Malakota from now on. Um, but she just wanted to like destroy the overworld or something. They gave her this backstory, which basically added nothing. It was just there to be funny. I don't even. It was like she was like a bad dancer or something like that, so she just became evil. And like her whole shtick was like she was like anti creativity or whatever. She had like three scenes in the whole movie, and yeah, like I genuinely forgot almost everything she did. The one thing I remember her doing is killing one of her henchmen, and then trying to do this cliche where she tries to stab Steve at the end with a small knife by tricking him to get close, and she does that three separate times before finally dying herself. That is literally all I remember about. Like the most I remember about her is that her name is similar to Malakota from Game Night. I don't remember anything else she did in the whole movie. She was that forgettable. And honestly, that henchman she killed was more memorable than she was. So her henchman is like this like big fat piglin general. The Piglins are the villains in this movie if you haven't seen it. Um, so this he his whole thing was that he his whole thing is that he was a zoomer. That's the best way to describe him. He used he didn't say he was gonna kill someone. He said he was gonna unalive someone. It was I admit I genuinely got a bit of a kick out of that. It was because it was obviously they were big time stereotyping Gen Z people and Gen Alpha people with him with the way he talked. He talked in TikTok speak, in TikTok slang, and as corny as it was, I actually chuckled at it a bit. Um, it was disappointing that he got killed off because in all reality, he was more memorable than the villain herself. Um, and then I guess the other side character that I is really worth mentioning, there's I wouldn't even call it a subplot because it happens like maybe twice on screen and adds nothing, literally nothing to the story at all. But there's this whole thing where a villager walks into the portal that goes back to Earth and ends up meeting the vice principal of Sebastian Hansen's character's school, and her whole thing was that she divorced her husband and was looking for someone else, and they end up falling in love. Literally, it's another "what's the point" kind of thing because it's just there just to try and be funny, I guess. Because there's this whole scene where they're at a restaurant and she's just like talking and talking and talking. And she's like, "Yeah, you really understand me. You have so much personality. You know, finally someone who gets me." And he's just there, just making villager noises, like that. Like that's the joke. Ha ha! Laugh. But in terms of plot, it's basic. It's literally just go there, get the thing gets stolen by villain. They have to get the thing back from the villain and save the world. That's the plot. That's the whole plot of the movie. It's very feels very haphazardly thrown together. As I said, the biggest sin in the movie is that it's rushed. Um, is so many there are so many plot holes in it if you look at it from a writer's perspective like I'm doing. um it definitely could have been written a lot better. Now I'm going to move on to some of the things that I did like about the movie. The visuals were really good. I liked the visuals. It was animated very well. It was smooth. Not the best CGI in the world, but it it may do. It's not the best, but not the worst. In terms of game mechanics, it did stay pretty much mostly faithful to the game mechanics, despite it being Minecraft. You know, a game that really doesn't have a plot. They had to make this one up. For this being a Minecraft movie, they don't really do a lot of building in it. Um, Building is not really one of the main focuses of the movie. It's mostly just explore and craft things. And speaking of crafting things, one of the things I actually liked about it that I thought was pretty cool was where there's a scene where probably one of the only unique and legitimately good things he did in the whole movie. Sebastian Hansen's character actually combined items from real life that he brought into Minecraft with Minecraft items to craft some cool, unique weapons to fight the mobs with. I thought that was kind of a cool concept that I wish that they kind of explored more, but they really only used it once, which was sad because that was cool. That was a cool concept, um, but it wasted because they only used it one time. Um, and for this being the Minecraft movie, and with the trailer, and this happens as the opening too. um Steve's saying, as a child I yearned for the mines. Yeah, there isn't really a lot of mining in the Minecraft movie. In fact, the only time genuine mining really happens isn't even in Minecraft itself. It's in real life at the beginning, where Steve is mining in the cave, um, and then ends up finding this glowing block. They call it an orb, even though it's a cube. They find this where he finds this glowing cube that opens up the portal into Minecraft. Speaking of the beginning, that the honestly one of the best sequences in the movie was the beginning, and that's kind of sad when one of the best parts in the movie is the very beginning. Um, so so Steve as a kid, is like, as a child I yearned for the mines, and he walks up to this mine shaft as a kid wanting to go mining. But this old guy miner was there, and he points to a sign that says absolutely no children allowed, and then he tells Steve to like get lost, and so Steve goes away. And then he grows up, and then all these years later he comes back to the mines, finally now as an adult, and that same guy, he didn't age a day. It's that exact same guy is still there, standing in front of the mine, preventing him from entering. I don't know why. I thought that was hilarious. That is just the same fucking guy, like 30 years later, just same outfit, no difference whatsoever. And he still tried to prevent Steve from entering, by the way, even though Steve is now an adult man. Um but that was one of the things I liked. Another thing I liked was, obviously, Technoblade's reference. I thought that I smiled at that. I even like saluted, like a bunch of us in the theater when the pig wearing a crown popped up. Like a few of us stood up and just saluted him. I appreciated the Technoblade reference, and I appreciate Sebastian Hansen himself, the actor, um, really advocating for that to be in here, and Jack Black calling him a legend, was very fitting because he is. I guess one of the other things, one of the other like really major things, and this will be the last major thing I say that I really genuinely enjoyed about the movie, was just all the references. Anyone who plays Minecraft and knows it well enough will get almost any of the references that are put in the movie, and there are quite a few little Easter eggs hidden in there, if you look for them. Um, and just they know how the mechanics of the game work. Who the people who made them, did do their research. Did, I think, actually play the game, before making the movie, because the mechanics in the movie and the mechanics in game, they line up pretty well. Like there's a scene where Steve has a redstone contraption that works pretty much as it does, in the game. Like they really don't like invent that many new stuff. I mean, they sort of do, like like with the gassed ships, which I actually thought that was pretty cool. Like the piglin ships being flown by ghasts as airships. Like that's pretty cool. But most of the like actual like game mechanics that are used in the movie do line up with how they work in the game, and that's something I do appreciate, because not every video game movie, does that. Like you can tell, like this is, um the team who did actually research and play the game that they were making a movie about. um where the movie suffers the most, unfortunately, is the plot. it's the plot and the timing and the characters. It's where this movie just, I don't want to say completely falls apart, but sure damn close to completely falling apart. Now, lastly, there is one more thing I wanted to talk about, and that is it was memed in the trailers when they first came out, and I knew it wouldn't happen, but I mean, I wanted to see Jason Momoa as Hero Brian. I really, really wanted to see Jason Momoa as Hero Brian, and I was like, there was no shot it would ever happen. You know, you were supposed to be a hero, Brian. What happened? I'm thinking I like that name. Like, I knew that wouldn't happen in the movie, but oh man, I what we could have had, what we could have had. And there was, okay, I entered that theater knowing full well it was never going to happen, but there was a part in the movie where for a minute I almost thought it might happen. So about halfway through, as they escape the woodland mansion, um they're on this bridge, and then they're surrounded by the piglin army, and they got the gas ships, and they all got TNT, and Jason Momoa seemingly sacrifices himself to ensure that Steve and Sebastian Hansen escape. And he seemingly gets blown up on the bridge by all the piglins. I I genuinely, for a minute, thought that there was a chance that he could come back just undead with glowing white eyes. Like at the end, like after the piglin villain was defeated, he could like reappear just with glowing white eyes and just undead and be like, haha, I'm actually taking the orb for myself now, because I decided I'm more important than you or whatever. I was, and as quickly as that thought came, I was like, there's no way they're gonna do that. But I genuinely thought for a moment, just what if that happened? And then the thought left as quickly as it came, and I was like, there's no way they're gonna do that. And I was right, they did not do that. He did come back, he wasn't dead, but he was very much still just normal Jason Momoa. He survived by doing the water bucket drop. But what oh, imagine if it did, though. Imagine if that is what happened. Honestly, if they had made Jason Momoa turn into Herobrine, I would have lost it. Okay? Like that would have legitimately bumped the movie from being pretty bad to at least decent. That would have bumped it up a whole category for me. That alone. And man, what could have been? What could have been? And yeah, I know there was. I mentioned a bunch of references. There was sort of a Easter egg alluding to Herobrine during the scene where Sebastian was fighting an Enderman, and the he was staring into the Enderman's eyes, and the Enderman was like hypnotizing him. They tried to do this cool thing where he started hallucinating like all the other characters insulting him, and they all had purple eyes like the Enderman did, except for Steve. Steve's eyes in that hallucination turned glowing white. And supposedly, or at least according to a post I read on Twitter, that actually wasn't intentional. Apparently, that was Steve's eyes were supposed to be purple like everyone else's, but supposedly that was just a glitch in the editing software. I don't know if that's true or not, or whether they intentionally made his eyes white just to make a Herobrine reference. But that is the closest we got to Hero Brian in the Minecraft movie. So yes, I am aware he is technically in there as a Easter egg, but it's not nearly the same as if we had actually gotten Jason Momoa as Hero Brian. I mean, come on, that no one can deny that that would have been completely amazing. But yeah, overall, that's my rant about the Minecraft movie. If I were to rate it out of 10, honestly, I have to give it a 3, man. Like there is not, for me, the most important thing about any movie is the story of it. It is the plot that goes before the visuals, the acting, the graphics, the mechanics, whatever, being it true to whatever it's based on. The story of the movie is the most important thing for me. And this movie's story just was not good at all. The story was bad. The characters were bad for the most part, with the exception of like two. And yeah, I just, from a story perspective, it sucked. There's no other way to put it. It was it wasn't garbage, but it wasn't good either. So yeah, I had 3 out of 10. Like 4 if I'm being generous. Um, but yeah, that's my rating. Um, if you haven't seen it yet, I'd still recommend you to go see it because it is one of those so bad it's good movies for the most part. Um, but like even in so bad it's good movies, like there are parts where it's just bad. And unfortunately, the bad outweighs the good um in this. So, is it still peak cinema? Yes, it is. But at the same time, uh I have seen way better video game movies, like multiple others. And one more thing on that note that I want to mention. I know it said this would be the end, but just one more thing I thought of, and not about the movie itself, but about how it's doing currently. In 1 week's time, this movie has been out for a week. It has made $313 million in a week. It took Sonic 3 a month to make $400 million. And the Minecraft movie has already blown halfway past that in a week. Like, that is incredible, honestly. Like, people are seeing it just to see it, I know, but it just blows my mind that Sonic 3, which I consider to be the best video game movie ever made so far, um, is very likely to be outdone by the Minecraft movie before the end of the month. Like that genuinely blows my mind. But yeah, I just wanted to rant about this whole thing. Um, this is what I sound like speaking totally off the cuff. Anytime I've ever done like a genuine review about something at any capacity in the past, I usually just have like a little note card that I write down. I didn't even do that this time. I just wanted to hop on here to talk about it. Uh, but yeah, um, hopefully if they make a sequel like they're already planning on doing, um, the story ends up being a lot better. Um, but yeah, that's my final thoughts. See ya.